What's going on, guys? Welcome to the David F. Haas podcast. I'm your host, David F. Haas. I really gotta work on that intro because it's getting pretty lame. But I want to jump right into it. The one thing I hate about podcasts and online courses and lessons that I usually spend about the first 2 or 3 minutes is talking about, whatever is going on in the day, and you gotta waste 5 minutes before you actually get into the good hard content. And I'm actually doing it right now again, so I apologize. But that was only 30 seconds, so not bad little intro. We need a little warm up, I guess. Today's podcast, no idea how long this thing is going to take me, but I'm basically going to reveal to you the secret to getting any weight issues that you have under control. Now, I know that this is controversial, and there's a million strategies out there on how to lose weight, how to become free of addictions. I think I'm going to add that, how to become free of addictions, lose weight, become free of addictions. And there's a million things. You can exercise, you can diet, you can count calories, you can keto, you can Atkins, you could veg, you could vegan. Like, it's literally endless. And, I was recently reading the book Healing and Recovery by Dr. David Hawkins. And in that book, he says like something like this is like just so aligned with the truth that if diets worked, there wouldn't be this gigantic diet industry. There wouldn't be this, market saying, hey, we figured out the one thing that you need to do, because obviously no one has figured out what the one thing is. And I think the best thing to, to think about when you're trying to lose weight and get a control of your eating habits is, there's an approach that works for everyone. So I don't know if this approach is going to work for you, but I think that it is aligned with the ultimate truth of how to become free of any addiction. And it's actually aligned with what I do as the letting go coach, which is it's about learning how to tune into the feeling that you're feeling and allow yourself to feel it fully instead of resisting it. So I'm recently reading David Hawkins' Healing and Recovery, and I read that book about 4 years ago, and I didn't realize at the time that there was a whole entire section on how to control hunger and how to break free from addictions. And, back in the day, it just went in one ear and out the other. But it was kind of like a seed that was planted, and then eventually it was revealed to me on, what it was I needed to do to break this addiction that I have to drinking pop. I've done a ton of spiritual work on this, and I've realized that at the root of it is that eating pop and sugar was a mechanism I created to not feel the pain, the grief from the loss of my mother when I was 9 years old. So with all that, I believe that I'm constantly being guided towards the best version of myself, and that is a part of spiritual growth, is a willingness. It's not willpower. Okay, because willpower is only going to take you so far, because willpower is connected to desire. You desire to be better, you desire to be thinner, you desire to have more money, and willpower connected to desire only calibrates at 125, which is below the critical level of 200 on the scale of consciousness designed by Dr. David Hawkins. I'm sorry that I'm saying that quickly, but I talk about this stuff a lot. So if you're new to the podcast, you're probably going like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But ultimately, willpower is weak. And this is why, people fail, right? Because the power of the will is not strong enough. It doesn't even get the support from the universe, from creator, from God, whatever you want to call it. Because it's calibrated so low, it's connected to the ego. And the ego is the mind that is unobserved. So from this low state of consciousness, we're going to fail. It's just going to happen over and over and over again. I experienced this hundreds of times trying to quit pop over the course of my life, because pop as a kid was my comfort, right? When things were going good, I drank pop. When things were going bad, I drank pop. And, because it was installed at such a young age, it's also been one of the most challenging things I've ever had to overcome in my entire life. I gave up alcohol relatively easy. I gave up alcohol one day. I said, I'm done drinking alcohol. And I never went back. 11 years later, I'm still haven't had a drop of alcohol in that entire time. So because I took on the behavior of drinking alcohol at 17, it was a lot easier to let go of. The behavior of drinking pop and eating sweets I took on at 7 years old when my mom started first getting sick with cancer. And then she died when I was 9, and then it kind of snowballed. I was also a 9-year-old being left in charge of my own diet. And you can imagine if you leave a 9-year-old in charge of his own diet, what he's going to eat. And it was just a bunch of junk. So that was my safe place. That was my happy place. And through the process of spiritual growth, through the process of letting go, I've come to the realization that the reason I was going to food was not essentially because of hunger. It was because something was off in my life. I was experiencing more stress. I was in my collapse, my favorite collapse of self-doubt. And that's when I was reaching for that pop, because I didn't want to feel the pain I was feeling. And I used pop as a way to pull myself out. And you know what? It works. It works well. It's like if I'm experiencing, let's use self-doubt, which is one of my collapses. If I'm experiencing self-doubt, I actually did this a few months ago. I was launching a program online or something along those lines. I can't remember, but I was just getting negative feedback, and I could feel myself. Oh no, this is what it was. I'm in the middle of doing a big real estate deal, and I thought everything was, all the ducks were in a row, and this thing was all aligned, and then it kind of fell apart a little bit. We got it back on track recently. But this thing falls apart, and then immediately I go into self-doubt. I'm questioning like what my purpose is in life. I'm questioning, am I on the right path? Am I on the right direction? And these are the questions that have plagued me, that have kept me playing small. And I'm feeling all of this, I don't know what you want to call it, stress, uneasiness. And I'm thinking I want to drink pop. But because I was aware of the fact that I wanted to drink pop to escape the emotions, I took that opportunity to say, what is it that I'm feeling? Why do I want to go to drink pop right now? And I wrote a list of all the things that I was feeling. And I'm like, okay, all I need to do now is sit here and feel these emotions. And then I'll be free of my urge to drink pop. But the funny thing is that I chose to drink the pop still back then. A few months ago, I was like, no, this is too much letting go. This is too much work. I'm just going to go the easy road, drink the pop and feel better. And it made me feel better. But what I want to talk about today is the realization that I recently had, which I hope is the final piece of the puzzle for me when it comes to breaking this addiction. And ultimately, what Hawkins says is that we can let go of wanting anything. So we can even let go of wanting food, right? So now you're going like, what the hell are you talking about? But essentially, we have all been trained like Pavlovian dogs. As soon as the hunger bell rings, we run to the kitchen, right? Like our stomach grumbles and we're like, we need to be satiated. We need to have food. We need to feel that comfort. And what I did in the past when I've lost weight and got into really good shape was I just used my willpower to push me beyond that hunger, right? I just ignored it. I just escaped it. I went for a walk. I went to the gym. I exercised more. I thought about the future where I was going to be able to eat dinner or whatever it may be. And this is how I overcame the hunger. But eventually the willpower wore off and I put weight back on. So what Hawkins is describing in this technique is when the hunger bell rings, instead of choosing to escape it, to ignore it, to try and avoid it, to go into the feeling of hunger. And this is what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 days. And it's been unbelievable. It's literally, I think it's the ultimate game changer. So what I've found is, as I'm feeling the hunger, I caught myself trying to avoid it, thinking, oh, don't think about the hunger, right? Oh, you're going to eat in a couple hours. Don't think about it. I project to the future. But then when I caught myself doing that, trying to avoid it, I said, no, let me go into the hunger. Let me allow myself to feel what it feels like to be hungry. And so I just moved into the feeling of the hunger. I felt the growling in the stomach. I felt maybe the feeling of weakness in the body. I felt the urge to feel like I wanted to be full. And I just allowed myself to feel all of that. And then remarkably, in about 30 seconds, the feeling of hunger went away. And now I've been doing that for, like I said, for the last 3 or 4 days. And now hunger is coming up less and less and less for me. So what I think this technique is doing is it's going to allow me to be okay whether I'm eating or not, right? And now I'm not advocating for going fasting or doing anything. I'm still eating food, right? But the trick is that I'm not allowing the hunger bell to dictate when I eat, right? I'm not being a Pavlonia dog, and as soon as that stomach growls, I'm running to the kitchen to fill myself so I feel comfortable again. Now I can take it or leave it. Now I can say, oh yeah, there's the hunger bell. Let me feel it. Oh, okay, the hunger is gone. Now I can choose to eat or choose not to eat. I'm okay either way, right? And if you continue to do this, the hunger bell eventually just stops ringing, right? Because we're no longer giving it the response of food, if that makes sense. So just like the Pavlovian dogs, if he kept on ringing that bell and kept on not giving the dog a steak or the treat or whatever he was giving them, eventually the dog would stop salivating because there is no reward for the response anymore, right? So when we feel hunger and we go eat, we're rewarding the response of hunger, right? So all we need to do, it doesn't mean we don't have to eat. So don't say, fasting, blah, blah. Don't be commenting in the post that this is stupid. All I'm saying is that when we feel hunger, to lean into the feeling of hunger, allow ourselves to tune into exactly how hunger feels, allow ourselves to feel it. Once the energy of hunger is gone, then you can choose to either eat or not eat, right? But you're no longer going to be the Pavlovian dog, to keep using this analogy. You're no longer going to be that dog that's just responding the second the body says I'm hungry, right? And it's been a complete game changer. Now the other thing that I did is I've also let go of wanting of food. Okay, so how do you let go of the wanting of the food? Well, in the past, when I felt like I wanted to eat something sweet or I wanted to drink a pop, I would avoid the feeling of want. I would try and escape it. I would try and use the power of the mind to not think about drinking a pop. But instead now I ask for more of the wanting. I'm hoping this is making sense. So I ask for more wanting, right? And that's the same thing I do with the hunger. I ask for more feeling of hunger. So it's ultimately this moment when you're feeling the hunger or you're feeling the urge to eat something bad, and you just say, give me more. Not give me more food. Let me feel this wanting more. And as you lean into this feeling, the energy behind the feeling goes away. So I've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 days. It's been huge. I'm going to do a report on it. And next week I'll do a recap of how it's been going. But I'm still eating food. But I feel like I am no longer allowing my stomach and my cravings to control me. I now have control over them because I'm not avoiding them anymore. Does that make sense? So I'm no longer avoiding this. I'm no longer scared of the feeling of hunger. I'm no longer scared of the wanting to drink pop, right? Before, when those cravings would come up, it happened to me last night. I was at my mother-in-law's, and that place is like, it's always tough for me when I'm at my mother-in-law's because there's always a bunch of food. They always have a bunch of pop in the fridge. I'm in a relaxed state because my mother and father-in-law are helping me watch the kid, and we're just kind of laying around watching TV. It's great. But when I'm like that and I'm comfortable and I'm feeling good and happy, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should drink a pop right now. So last night I felt it. I'm like, oh, here it is. And I'm like, oh, don't think about it. But then I'm like, no, not don't think about it. Let me think about it more. Let me feel the urge to drink a pop even more. And I did it for like 10 seconds and the urge went away and I was able to overcome that craving. So now I just keep asking for more and more and more of it. And eventually I'll be completely free of my need to drink pop. I'll be completely free of the feeling of hunger and responding to it. I'll just eat when I'm ready to eat. The other thing that Hawkins mentioned in Healing and Recovery, it's a great book. I think if you're suffering from any ailment, Healing and Recovery, I think, is a book that everyone must read. But the other thing that he says is to never eat when you're hungry. Okay, so that would be another tip, is to recognize that you're hungry, lean into the hunger. Once the feeling of hunger goes away, then you can eat preemptively before the hunger comes up. So this is, I think, probably like the methodology behind eating 5 small meals a day, is that you just never allow yourself to get hungry, and then you're not just responding and rewarding the body. So I think this is a game changer. I'm going to be my own guinea pig here, and I'm going to continue to put this into practice forever. But I'm going to give you guys some updates and reports to see how it's going. But I think this is going to be a game changer. And I'm also just like, I'm so amazed every single day about the amount of help that I receive from the universe, from God, from Creator, whatever your belief of a higher power is. But ultimately, I believe that I'm on a path to being the best version of myself. And just by becoming aware that I'm receiving the help, all the help that I need, is enough to create more confidence that I am receiving that help. Okay, so let me just reiterate that quickly. So when you become aware of something that you need help for, so this is the challenge that I'm going to leave you with for today's podcast, is just think of something right now that you're really searching for help with, that you just haven't been able to resolve, right? It doesn't have to be big either. You could think of something simple, like maybe you only have $100 in the bank and you need $200 to pay rent, something along those lines. And just wait for the answer to be resolved, right? Just wait, I misspoke there. Don't wait for the answer. Become aware of what you're asking for help with. Ask for the help from a higher power of your understanding, and then become aware of as that help comes into your life. If I were to write down all of the help that I've received into my life to become free of this addiction to pop, literally I could make a list of 100, 200 different items that every single one has moved me a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer to my goal. And the same was with alcohol. It was like just an event after event. And as you become aware of this help that is around us at all times, we just have to tune our radar into the help. As you become aware and you start experiencing the help, you start building the confidence. And once you start building the confidence, then you're like, oh, everything is perfect. Everything is happening in perfect order. I am receiving everything that I need at all times. There is no need to want anything. Everything is going to flow into my life. It's going to flow into my life effortlessly. And to give you just a real practical example of that, every year, I made a podcast a while back about how I do my planning. And essentially, just as a recap, I just basically break my planning down into my year. At the beginning of every year, I say, what is it I want to accomplish this year? Right? And that's all moving me towards my life goal, which is, I have my life goal, but every year I plan and say, what do I need to do this year to move me closer to my life goal? Okay. So, and then I break it down from there. You can listen to that podcast. It's probably one of my better podcasts about how I get things done, how I get more done in a week than most people get done in a month. The next thing I do with my year is I break it down in what do I need to do this month to move me closer to my yearly goals? What do I need to do this week to move me closer to my monthly goals? And what do I need to do today to move me closer to my weekly goals? I think you get it. I call it the 5 circles method. But I wrote down this year on my yearly goals that I want to become a better leader, right? And I didn't really know what I was going to do to become a better leader. I had some plans. I was going to write. I was going to listen to some audiobooks. I already listened to a Brene Brown book on leadership. It was great. I might have taken a few courses. Anyways, out of the blue, in one of these courses I'm in, this guy messages me and says, hey, I think we're in the same spot with our coaching businesses. Why don't we hook up and keep each other accountable, right? So him and I have been meeting up on a Zoom call once a week. And as we've been doing that, I've been uncovering what it is that he coaches people. And what do you know? He coaches people on leadership, right? So at the end of our call every day, he spends about 10 minutes with me, giving me some more insight on how to become a better leader. And the stuff he's been giving me is like just pure gold. His name is Mickey Pittman. You can check him out if you're looking for help with leadership. But the stuff he's been giving me has just been unbelievable. I know it's going to transform the way that I lead people. So again, it's this confirmation that everything that we need is continuously flowing into our lives. The trick is just to become aware of it. We first need to know what it is that we need help for. So that's the challenge today, is figure out what it is you're asking for help for, then ask for the help, and then tune into when that help begins flowing into your life. The more you do this, the more confidence you're gonna have in God and the universe, and the more you're gonna understand that everything that you need is being provided to you, and it's being provided to you in abundance. And that's where I'm going to leave the podcast. I think it was perfect, 20 minutes. So thanks for taking the time to listen. Don't forget, click subscribe if you haven't already. Because I'm releasing new podcasts every single week, and there might be one that you really want to listen to. Also, if you want to head to my website, it's davidhaas.ca. HAAS. And I have my free course right now. It's called 5 Days to Freedom. And it's about what you need to uncover that is critical, that is going to get you to experience the freedom that already exists within. So you can download that course 100% free. There's no catches. Just fill out the email contact and we'll send you a link to the course. So yeah, check that out and we'll see you guys again next Wednesday.